So once we've finished drawing out our still life in here, we've got everything in there as best as possible, right? We're going to start transferring our drawing. So before we start to transfer the drawing, we want to make sure that our drawing is the best it can be. I'm looking at proportion, I'm looking at the size of one object compared to the other, placement of objects, overlapping, details, inner and outer details, negative space, positive space. I'm looking at all those things to make sure that as best as possible. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab a piece of graphite stick. Okay. I'm going to flip my drawing over onto the back, and I'm going to use my graphite stick. And what I'm going to do is, using the flat side, I'm going to rub the graphite onto the back. Making sure that I have my table clean, so the only thing that is on here is my paper, because you'll notice it picks up lines. I don't want that. I want to avoid that as much as possible. I also don't want to rip my paper with other things that are underneath it. So I'm putting a fairly even coat all over the drawing. Now my next step is, once I have the nice even coat in here, I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of paper towel, and I'm going to burnish with the paper towel using circular motions. So here's my paper towel. Notice that I folded it. That's just an easier way for me to control my circular motions. And I'm going to burnish it. This is going to eliminate a lot of the graphite dust that's on here. It's going to make sure that I have a good surface, that when I go to transfer onto my drawing, I do not get accidental graphite on my drawing where I don't want it, or on my board where I don't want it. I'm going to go ahead and give it one more pass. Notice I'm cleaning up in here. Going to burnish it again. Nice circular motion. I don't want to be too rough with this because I don't want to rip the newsprint. Once I've got that on there, now I'm going to flip it back over. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my illustration board and I'm going to slide it underneath my drawing. So you'll see that my illustration board is now underneath my drawing. Okay. There's my illustration board. I'm going to hold it as still as possible there. I'm pretty good. Okay. This is lining it up with my drawing. So I line up with the border. So when I look at this, you'll see that my border is right there along with my illustration board. So it's as lined up as possible. Okay. Some people like to tape this down, so I could always lift up here. I could tape down my board to make sure it doesn't move on me. Okay, you can't see that taping up right there, but you'll have to believe me that I did it. And then I'll tape down the edge over here to make sure that it's all taped down. So I'm taping it down over this way. Now I'm going to be grabbing my HB pencil and I'm going to start tracing my drawing. So I'm going to do this gently. So I'm coming in here and I'm going over my lines to trace it down. Notice that I'm holding the paper, so then that way I don't move it and slide it and accidentally make marks I don't want. This is going to take time. That's part of the reason why we took our time to make this drawing as perfect as possible. So then that way, as I'm tracing, I'm not repeating mistakes that I've made. All I'm doing is picking up the lines that I want to keep. We've erased a lot on our newsprint, and we wanted to avoid erasing a lot on our illustration board so that we could preserve the surface of the illustration board. So one of the things is we need to be checking to make sure it's transferring. And the way that I check is I lift up and I can see my drawing. Okay, I can see that my drawing is transferring right in there. It is very light, but it is transferring. And then I keep going. And the goal is to have the entire thing transferred down. This will take time to do. All right, if you have any questions, please see me.